All right, let's get started. A wonderful good morning today to our absolute special Basic Saturday. And today is truly a real Basic Saturday where we will cover very important points that will likely completely change and improve your communication. My name is Gerhard Riehäuser. I am very pleased to be able to give the introduction today. I especially want to welcome the guests who are joining us for the very first time and who have the chance today to participate in this great training. Just briefly, perhaps as an introduction, today Dr. Sven Goebel will conduct the training. I'll abbreviate that with Sven. He is a trusted partner, mentor, and trainer for many of us. And of course, he is highly regarded worldwide for his achievements and dedication, also in network marketing industry for over 30 years. Sven is also the president at Zinzino for the very new guests who might not know yet. One of the fastest presidents ever in the company. And we are very grateful to you that together with him and other strong leaders, we have such a strong and rapidly growing team here. We have been able to build over the last 2.5 years. And today Sven will give you a very detailed plan regarding your communication, but also your strategy, your tactics in sponsor meetings, what really matters, especially when you are in this fast start period, whether you are still new yourself or also working with new people, how to proceed explicitly. And that's where it really matters, that you really take notes starting today. So get something to write with and take notes. We also have a recording included here. It will last about 90 minutes today. We will extend today, but simply have important points. Please mute yourselves. Be so kind if you haven't done so yet. I still have 3 or 4 there. And also get something to drink, maybe a coffee or water, but definitely be attentive from the very beginning. And I'm really looking forward to it now. Also that Sven is taking the time today because he has a very, very tight schedule. He is already in Lyon tomorrow for an event. He was just in Martinique and Guadeloupe conducting these trainings that he will present to us today. And people were able to take away a whole lot. So I'm really excited and I'll pass it over, I would say 100% directly to Sven. Dear Sven, here you go.
Hey, thank you very much and a wonderful good morning. Gerhard, can you please really mute so that I can't unmute myself? Otherwise we'll get distracted. And if we're in the flow, then I'm someone who tends to lose track if someone interrupts. And this morning we want to work together intensively. I'm really excited that I get to lead the training today. But first, I want to thank our trainers who conduct the Basic Saturday every Saturday, like Birgit, Gerhard, Chris, Mel, and other guest speakers you invite. It also has something to do with today. The consistency we have here makes a huge difference for the long-term results. Up until now, we've reached exactly that point, Gerhard. You really need to mute everyone now, otherwise we can't continue. Have you tied and secured everything? Okay. May I? May I? Should I? Do I have to? Yes, you have to. All right. So once again, a very good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction, Gerhard. And yes, we want to work intensively together today. I'm not even sure if I need an hour and a half. I've done the training in detail several times now. The deeper you can delve into it. Possibly also looking at things from different angles, the same thing from different perspectives, the clearer it becomes. And I don't want to work under time pressure today. We've scheduled this for 90 minutes, but it might be that we need significantly less. It depends a bit. There are 2 parts. In the first part, we need to break through some of our own thought patterns. That's a fun part. It's enjoyable because it's like looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I think I need to change something. I'll explain why that is right at the beginning. The second part, once we've done that and are free, then we will take a close look at the business development strategy from A to Z so that you can get the duplication process up and running quickly, easily, and effortlessly. And I believe once we've achieved that, then today we have achieved an incredible amount. What I would also recommend, as Gerhard already mentioned, please, there will be a few sentences that you really need to write down exactly as I say them. you should hang them on the fridge or the bathroom mirror and really read them every day so you don't fall back into an old pattern. I'll start this morning like this. I also mentioned it at the convention. I played tennis as a competitive sport for 30 years, and one day we got a new coach. We were in our teenage years, I think maybe 16, 17, 18, also moody teenagers who believe the world belongs to them anyway. And then a coach came. He was a former Romanian Davis Cup player, and he suddenly introduced a completely different approach with us. Yes, we didn't take it very seriously. We could already play quite well, and if we weren't in a good mood, we weren't in a good mood. And if there was a tournament, we were still at the disco the night before. And suddenly it was all over. The guy tortured us and tortured us until we were actually throwing up on the forest floor during conditioning training and everything. That happened regularly. And we cursed him for it. We hated him for it. We said we didn't want it, and so on and so forth. But we, of course, went through with it, or we were made to go through it. And what happened 2 years later, in terms of our performance, our tournaments, and our skills as players, but also in our mental state, our physical condition for a change. It was incredible. And that's when I first learned that success only happens outside the comfort zone. And only then, if I accept that I have to move outside the comfort zone, which is sometimes really arduous and also painful, if a change is to occur. Otherwise, I just keep having the same of the same over a long period. That was a very, very important insight back then. The biggest problem, the first sentence you can write down is the following. You see, or write in the first person. I don't see Zinzino as it is. I see Zinzino as I am. A very important sentence. Above all, one must understand what it means. You don't see Zinzino as it is, but you see Zinzino as you are, through your own lens. That means you don't see the true Zinzino, but rather an interpretation of Zinzino by yourself, specifically the one your own mind tells you. And in most cases, that is already the biggest problem. Because what does our mind tell us? Our head tells us that what has shaped us in the past, or what someone else has already told us, whose head is also only telling him an interpretation. So the likelihood that we see the right thing in Zinzino, and from seeing the right thing, develop the right actions that lead to the right results, the likelihood is relatively low. And if you want to know whether what you see in Zinzino is the correct interpretation, then you just need to look into your back office and examine your numbers and your business developments and your successes. And if they are not as you imagine them, or if they could be better, let me put it very cautiously, then you know those are your interpretations for the business, and ergo, this results in how you execute it, which is not correct. And that's completely normal. You just have to become aware of it and start questioning this pattern that you convince yourself of every day and what you do every day. To question and change. And we need to start with that today. This is not something that can be changed overnight. But what you can change immediately, namely right now in this call, actually to be precise, in this very minute, is the decision to accept that it is the way it is. And also to accept and decide that you want to change it. With that, you have already completely opened yourself to the new. And in seminars like today, it's not about learning something new again. You have learned enough. Every day you get some new impulses. I believe unlearning the old. It is a much, much more important step that you actually do certain things that you once learned. So actually, unlearning things and not learning new things is what's important. I must or should not do certain things anymore that I have done. And I must make room for new things that I do so that I can change something. Then our coach always said something else. He said, you know, when I get a new player, in my experience as a coach, I tend to prefer to train someone who has never held a tennis racket before to work with a beginner in the sport of tennis than someone who has been using the wrong technique for 5 or 10 years. Because first, I have to unlearn everything he has in his entire movement in order to then teach the right thing again, which is incredibly much more difficult than teaching someone who is open, new, and eager the right thing from the start. And in fact, we have this problem in network marketing as well. Dealing with people who come from the network. And they are, God knows, not all just professionals. But if I know that I have someone in front of me who tells me, yes, I've also been in network marketing for 15 years, then my first question is always, great, what were your biggest successes? What was the highest monthly check you ever earned? And if he then tells me it was 1,500 euros, then I immediately know. If someone has been in network marketing for 15 years and their highest check was 1,500 euros, then I know that person has done everything. Everything wrong that they could possibly do wrong if they were with a legitimate company. Because if you've been in the network for more than 10 years and aren't solid, have a 5-figure income per month, then you can say what you want, but you're not doing it right. There's absolutely nothing to discuss. That's just the way it is. Then you're not doing it right. Then you're doing what you believe you're doing because you believe the story your brain is telling you, your interpretation. But that is so far from reality that you can't make any progress. Translated into tennis, this would mean you're playing the forehand with completely wrong technique. And with this technique, you can't play a strong point. You can hit a ball, but God knows it won't go where you want it to. And you won't score a point for it either because the opponent is stronger. And that's exactly how an incredible number of people play our business. It's nothing more than a game, maybe even a gamble for them, but it's not a strategically important alignment for building a professional business. And it's very important to me that we talk openly about this because it affects an incredible number of you. And you don't know any different. That's why we need to make this conscious and say, okay, maybe there is another way I can do my business. Because one thing is clear, my thoughts or my interpretation, what I tell myself, determines my actions. And what I make of it, these actions, they give me my results. And precisely with the results, if they don't match, you see, that it starts with your thoughts at the top, that something is wrong up here, because you're telling yourself a false story about what Zinzino is, how it works, and what you actually need to do. And that's also the explanation for why people, despite being diligent, don't achieve anything in this business. Yes, they are diligent, but with the wrong story, the wrong actions, and therefore unsatisfying results. So, this is the very first thing we need to become clear about. If you are ready to accept that and say, okay, when I reflect on how things have been going for me over the past weeks, months, and years, then I have to admit it could be better. Maybe I need to adopt a new way of thinking and also trigger a new pattern of behavior. That would be good if it comes to that, because that's where we want to go. Now, many come from the network and they bring like this pattern with them. And what is really frustrating is no matter how well Zinzino works, I mean, we really have to say, we are dealing with a company here that offers us everything we need and more. In the 33 years I've been in this business, I've never experienced not having to justify or apologize for anything to my partners. Normally, network marketing is all about fixing things that the company simply doesn't do, doesn't deliver, doesn't manage, or doesn't do correctly. And when some calculations are wrong, and you just have to keep the team motivated all the time. That's not the case with Zinzino at all. The business runs perfectly. It's a 9.5 out of 10 on a scale. Perfect doesn't exist, but it's nearly perfect. So that means the excuse that it's because of Zinzino, because of the product, because of the upline, because of the crossline, because of the timing, because of the success, because of the story. We don't have that excuse. They're gone. That makes it very easy for us because that means if we want to get better, only we need to get better. Everything else is already good. And that is a truly brilliant situation. And that is also the reason why in our team, where we have an extremely large number of good, talented partners, those who are really good and have come with the right mindset and attitude have become incredibly successful so quickly. That's why we are the fastest growing team. Because the only thing you are still missing is the clear direction, the right mindset, and the perfect base strategy for duplication. And once we have solved that, which is really a piece of cake, as long as you allow it, that's why I have this long introduction here. I keep harping on it because we need to crack it. We need to crack ourselves in this situation. If you allow that, everything else is a piece of cake. And I have now seen with the people who do it correctly and articulate it well, how the successes come. It's incredible. I mean, we have just now in our Facebook group again, the ranks and the successes and the sales figures of our organization shown. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but I believe we are already doing, even though we've only been in the company for 2 years, which is 20 years old and growing like crazy. Still almost 20% of the total global sales. That's an enormous number. We will certainly make 50% of it in the coming years at some point. Why? Because we are simply fast, because we are good, because we know how it works. And because our partners are really all incredibly sharp at the moment. We have steam in the boiler. And that's also what makes me a little nervous at the moment. Because when you already have the energy ready, when the will of the people is there, when they really say, we're going to attack, then it's even worse if the wrong things are attacked, because then the mistake becomes bigger. That's why we need to calibrate ourselves now and say, okay, now let's just do it, right? So this is the thing now. And what you need to consider next is, and this is the first homework that you should do with yourself over the next few weeks. Starting today, go alongside yourself as if you are a third person, walking next to you, very close like a shadow, and pay attention all day. What are you actually telling others about all of this? What am I talking about? When I speak about Zinzino, what is my approach? Is it good? Are the reactions positive? Can I produce results with it? Or is it tedious? You have to tell yourself that because your upline isn't next to you all the time, but you are next to yourself. So step out of your skin and reflect on yourself over a longer period now. Just get used to it. Man, about what you tell other people all day long. And I can already tell you, this will be a very surprising analysis for you, because you'll often reach the point where you have to say to yourself, well, today I wouldn't have joined myself. And that's exactly the problem. But if you do that and become aware of it again, you move from unconscious to conscious again, then you will become better. Then you will notice what you will no longer do, what no longer suits you. And you will do things more effectively, more consciously, and you will be able to use them more purposefully. And then you are not only officially, but also highly successful. And that's what we want to become. That's why you have to walk alongside yourself. Now, the thoughts are there. We express them in our language. That means what we think, what we perceive, we tell other people. Now we have to consider what we actually want to achieve here in Zinzino. What we want to achieve is we want to build a business. In Zinzino, we have the opportunity to build a customer base and to establish a partner business. I would like to dispel a myth that is widespread in the industry, but which I have never really seen come true in reality. That is the myth. That one is led to believe that you can turn a satisfied customer into an active partner. That doesn't work. If it works, then only in very rare individual cases, and even then only after a very long time. A customer is a customer who uses the products. And someone who wants to do business wants to do business. And you have to separate that as gently as possible. 20 years ago, Gerhard and I learned a phrase from a leader from America, one of the top leaders. The phrase initially surprised us. And when we analyzed it, it became crystal clear to us. And I am incredibly grateful for that. that I was able to learn this 20 years ago because it was actually the breakthrough for me to build my business relatively quickly. And now, please write down this phrase as well. And it goes, only talk to people about your product whom you definitely do not want in the business. You heard correctly. Only talk to people about your product whom you do not want in the business. Let it sink in for a moment. Shake it off. Think about it. Because it is very provocative. What is the background? The background is quite simple. Only talk to people about your product whom you do not want in the business. With everyone else, you talk about your business. And the language of the product is a completely different language than the language of the business. It's like black and white. And you have to decide when you have someone in front of you, which path to lead them down. Do I turn right and go down the road of the product? Do I speak the language of science, end up in the cell and the cell membrane permeability, and talk about omega-3 and omega-6 balance and consider and hope whether they like the oil or not? Or do I lead them down the left path and talk to them about whether we will form a partnership together to carry this new multi-billion company, which it will soon become, into the world? You can already hear in the way I said it, that these are two completely different languages we are learning to speak. Now, people believe when they start new in our business that it's about the product. That's true as well. But there's nothing more to say about our product. There's nothing more to say about omega-3. There are videos, you can Google it, it's documented everywhere. You don't need to become a nutritionist or product expert to be successful in this business. I'm telling you directly, it's even a hindrance. Because if you engage with this subject, which you can do it on the side. I'm not saying that you shouldn't engage with the topic of omega-3 6, but it's not your tool to build your business. To build your business, the tool for that is a completely different subject you need to engage with, like in school. It's like German and math. If you engage with the product, you're in German class. If you engage with the business, you're in math class. You can't mix them together. Above all, you can't teach both in the same lesson. People need to know when we have German, when we have math, so they can align their minds and focus clearly. That means if you, and this is also the reason, folks, why we separated Business Tuesday, the Super Tuesday, from Product Thursday from the very beginning, because it doesn't work to zoom in on product details and at the same time zoom out to the business vision. Because when you talk about the product, you inevitably speak the language of science and the language of health. And when you talk about the business, you speak the language of expansion, the language of vision. Because this company will be a future billion-dollar player where you can be a part of it. That has nothing to do with your own omega-6, omega-3 ratio. That doesn't matter at that moment. Do you understand? That's the important point to understand, that mentally, just as we do in our event structure, the topic of product and the topic of business, to clearly separate the topic of the product and the topic of the business. Learn and always know and consider beforehand when you talk to someone, which path am I leading them on? So now you might say, okay, I understand that, but what should I talk about then? Quite simply, you need to engage sensitively with the company, not with the product. So you can also engage with the product, but it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. And I don't care whether you have a ratio of 5-1, 10-1, or 20-1. It's clear that you'll come into balance when you take the oil, but I don't need to give you a scientific lecture on that. I'll send you a video. So what you can do first is, and this will happen in conversations, people will inevitably ask you product questions. You can't prevent that. And you can't rudely say, look, I don't feel like answering that right now. Forget it, right? You do it politely. And you say, hey, I think it's great that you're interested in omega-3. I can answer your question really well with a video. I'll send you one. Is that okay with you? Yes. Next product question comes up. Same answer. I'll send you a video. Next product question. I'll send you a PDF. Next product question. An expert is sitting in front of you. I'll send you a video from Meeting of Minds, where the best scientists have discussed it. What you need to know is not how the product works. What you need to know is how to deliver the information to someone without conveying it yourself, by sending them a source. And then you have to do it like I do. I have saved every link for every topic in my notes on my phone, and I just do. Plug and play. Plug and play. He has a product question about this. Boom, Omega Balance, click, you've got it. English, German, boom, out. It takes me 5 seconds. And I don't answer any product questions. I don't have time for that. So now 2 things happen. It has another advantage when the partner or the new partner sees how easy you can make it for yourself with this product topic. You immediately take away their fear, because they understand that they don't have to become a product expert. I have known for years the struggle of our entire medical community. We have many doctors and many alternative practitioners in the business, and they build massively many customers, but I don't know a single one who doesn't struggle with building the business. Why is that? For 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they are perceived as experts. They don't hide the fact that they know everything. They blurt it out, and the person immediately thinks, even if they politely nod, oh, sure, but I could never do that. I'm a bus driver, or I work at the checkout, or I'm a lawyer or something else. But that's what I know about centers. So that means if you now also have the goal of becoming a hobby health expert, you were something completely different before, then you not only make yourself unbelievable, but you also completely disconnect everyone else from the conversation. That means you're directly in a one-way street. It's much smarter if you say, okay, you know what, I'll keep my knowledge to myself and I'll show him how easy it is so he can do it too. And you say, even if you could explain omega-3, yeah, omega-6, even if you could explain cell membrane permeability, even if you already know what the microbiome is and how the gut works, what symbiotics do, we know all that. I also have a doctorate in science. I can explain all of this to you. No one will ever talk to me about it. Here, very rarely, because I'm still not that good at conveying it like the material that Zinzino provides us with anyway. So I have to be smart and say, I will now start to use this material. I prepare it, I arrange it. It's all in the back office, or also on our YouTube channel. Your branches can provide you with entire playlists and show you what I use and how. Yes? Then you have that topic off the table. And then you can acquire the ability to learn a new language. And that's what it's about. Then you start to actually engage with the business, because those who focus on the product are not focusing on the business. I'll say it again. Those who focus on the product are not focusing on the business. This is a very important realization. Separate them from each other. Separate them from each other and engage with these things segmentally. But please do not mix them. Okay. That means if I have someone sitting in front of me today, then I only have one question. And that is, can I imagine with the new partner entering companies from this mega company? Can we imagine entering into a business partnership together? That is what I see in a new counterpart when I talk to them. And at that moment, it doesn't matter whether they're out of balance or in balance. It doesn't matter at the moment whether they prefer lemon or orange, lemon, mint. It doesn't matter to me what he plans to do with the products now or not. That comes later. The only thing I want to know is, does he see the opportunity we have here? Does he see this chance? And to find that out, to convey that to him, you naturally have to learn to speak this language. I'll give you an example. What I bring up in every conversation is that we, and I'm very proud of this, already had a 17-year-old company when we started 2 years ago. We've only been at it for 2 years, each of us. They were already 17 years old then. And they made 120 million in annual sales. And what I found so remarkable about it even back then, it excited me that there wasn't a single year that was weaker than the year before. This means that Zinzino has grown every year, without exception. And that is still the case today. Now we are 19 years old. Next year, we will be 20. And when we joined, the company had an annual turnover of about 120 million. And the rule of thumb for a solid company and perfect timing is 10 years over 100 million. Now, I'm giving you something again that you can talk about with others. Then I'll get back to talking about profit. There are 4 phases in which you can join a network company. It is especially important to have this conversation when you are talking with a network professional. Phase 1, the company is a startup, generating a turnover of 1 to 10 million. As we know, very few survive this. The risk is infinitely large. And the belief that you have to be there at the beginning to win big is a complete illusion, because the probability that the company doesn't win at all is extremely high. Nothing is proven. It's a gamble. That means if you really want to be sure and fully invest in something that has long-term sustainability, you are well advised not to start with a new network marketing company. That's just the way it is. And this is coming from someone who founded one. Very, very, very rarely. Next point. You are with a company that is in the next phase, between 10 and 100 million. Such a company may have survived the first 5 years, but it still doesn't have a proof of concept. It is still in the reinvention phase, constantly. Probably the entire internal management has been replaced once or twice already, or is still in the process of being replaced. Maybe they still need to rework the products. Maybe they don't have a clear concept yet. They don't have a clear winner. The finances are tight. It needs growth financing, potentially. It's also a very difficult time period. The company probably has a presence, but you constantly have to bring innovation or a new explanation to the people. And maybe the owners change or whatever. It's also a very shaky affair. And then you come into the phase between 100 million and 1 billion. That's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. There, you know, the company has survived. The company has solid finances. The company has a proof of concept regarding its product strategy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so large. The company has probably already expanded into many markets and has also gained experience in doing so. The day-to-day business runs smoothly and without major incidents. And you can focus on just one thing, and that is scaling. That's the point where it gets exciting to find the right company. And when you then consider where you'd rather be, closer to the 100 million or closer to the billion, then you'd prefer to be at the 100 million, because the next phase, you can also join a company that is already making over 1 billion today. But then I say, congratulations. But you've arrived too late to the party. Because then where you work, everyone has already heard of it. And that's not as much fun. It's solid. It can still grow to 10 billion for all I care. But the fields have already been grazed many times over. This means that with Zinzino, we are in the absolute sweet spot, because we have the security that the company is safe, that it works, the proof of concept is there, the hero product is known, what we are changing in the market is also clear. And we have something for every person in the world. That's already awesome, prerequisite. If you learn to talk about it instead of about the oil and the cell, then you are already 10 times further than anyone else next to you. That's already a very strong thing. There he says, hey, you're right. Great timing. I can't debate that. Perfect. So if you now mention that 2 years ago, after 17 years, the revenue was at 120 million. And now 2 years later, like this year, and let's say almost 3 years later, we will probably close this year with 240 million. Definitely well over 200 million. We don't have the final numbers yet, as the last quarter is still ongoing. Then you tell people, what do you say about a company that has grown every year over 17 years, reached 120 million in 17 years, and then doubled 3 years later? What do you call that? I'll tell you what I would call it. I call it momentum. I call it growth. I call it drive, acceleration. That's perfect. You need to talk about this. You need to know these numbers. These two numbers, 120 million and 240 million, are infinitely more important than 3 to 1. Infinitely, more important. You need to know that. And what also doesn't hurt is that you visit the investor relations page on the website and really engage with the press releases when the numbers come out. Quarterly reports, annual reports, read through them. I'm not exactly a pro at reading balance sheets either. I studied chemistry. I'm not good at it. I have to have my son explain one thing or another to me. But I know when a company is healthy and when a company is not healthy. And the security we have through the transparency in the numbers, that's a bank. And we also need to discuss this with people. So regarding expansion, and if you can believe the forecast, then you know that next year, our anniversary year, as Orion Seller has also publicly stated, we will likely close with 400 million in revenue. Now you have to consider this. Now you say, listen, now we start together. We took 17 years to reach 120 million. 3 years later, we doubled that, 240. And now we will make another 120 million in just 1 year. So what we did in 17 years at the beginning, we are now doing in 1 year. It will keep getting faster for us. And by 2028, we will be $1 billion company. And this is the journey that you are offered only once in your life. And with this journey, you will not only change your own life, but if you do it right. Because you will also be a shareholder and receive shares worth millions when you eventually reach high positions. It might take a few years, but that doesn't matter. But they distribute shares to the presidents in the millions. Then you have not only secured your own future for the rest of your life, but for many generations in your entire family lineage. And then you are the one who someday your great-grandchildren will still say, my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother, she was the one who, back when the company was still tiny, and hardly anyone knew it, worldwide, caught attention with it and ensured that our whole family is well off. And that's how you need to think and talk to people about it. But you can only talk about it once you have internalized it yourself. However, if you spend all day dealing with the products, with data sheets, you won't spare a thought for the things that truly make a difference in conversations with others. And that is the paradigm shift. One thing is, of course, clear. You won't achieve that overnight. It might be that you say, oh, God damn, no one has ever explained it to me so clearly before. I understand all of it. It's also 100% clear to me. And yes, I want to build a business. I want to have a large network. I want to become an influential, strong business partner. I want to become an ambassador. I want to become a president one day. You may make the decision, but now you know what needs to be done to even get there. Talking about the product won't get you anywhere, because the language of science brings you friends and acquaintances. The language of vision, the language of business brings you partners and growth. Choose what you want. But you can't mix one with the other and believe that something necessary will come out of it. It's like playing the lottery. You need to have this clarity about what you're talking about. Who are you in Zinzino? What do you see? You in Zinzino? What is your interpretation and your output when it comes to Zinzino from today? Because now you know it. Now you can no longer say, I didn't know. If you continue on your path now, that's completely fine. But then don't be surprised by the results you have, because you get exactly what you trigger yourself. And if you trigger something different, you get something different. And in many cases in our organization, we have now provided proof of this. That's the nice thing. Those of you who have been with us longer will say, why didn't you tell us this 2 years ago? Explained? Because only now, when we analyze our 2 years, do we clearly see why we are where we are with most of our partners and why others are not. Are where we are and why some of us are not. Are where we are because they do it differently than we might explain. And now it is crystal clear. It will become even clearer when we switch to the daily business shortly. I'm still on part 1. How much time do you have already? So we need the 90 minutes. Make yourselves a coffee. I'll take a break shortly. Yes, we are not even into the daily business yet. But it's important to me now, and I'll conclude again with my favorite analogy. It only becomes clear to some when you talk about burgers in restaurants. That's my favorite example, McDonald's. Suppose we didn't have McDonald's yet in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. You would be on the expansion committee and you would have to establish McDonald's in Germany. But you already know that it works in all other countries. But you already know that people like the taste of the burger. It's just about how to get it into the field. And then you also know at the same time that you no longer need to discuss the burger. It's settled. It doesn't matter whether you now argue that the tomato should be on the bottom and the burger on top and the salad on top and the mayonnaise on the bottom. It doesn't matter, the thing works. Take it as it is. Don't focus on it at all. Instead, you have a completely different task. Your task is to think about where to build the restaurants so that many burgers are sold with me. That means the multiplication, the fact that McDonald's sells so many burgers is not because the burger is so good, but because there's a restaurant on every corner. That's strategy, translated to our context. And why do I mention McDonald's? Because let's say it's our partner company. They produce omega-6, we produce omega-3. The more burgers, the more oil. It's that simple. That's awesome. So I have nothing against them. On the contrary, the more burgers are eaten, the more omega-6 is circulated. Omega-6 company, we are the omega-3 company. It somehow fits. So it can also be used as an example. That was a joke. But what is serious is that you need to understand the difference between restaurants and burgers. That means talking about burgers when you want to expand into a country doesn't bring restaurants. If you want to have restaurants, so that you can sell many burgers, one day you need to talk about restaurants. That's a completely different discussion. That's a completely different mindset. You don't think about the burger anymore because the burger is already established. That's already. It's the same with our oil, our test. That's already. If someone wants to know something, here, send them a video and they'll know why they need it. Let's talk about how we can bring this to the world, because we have 8 billion people who need the product. And we won't achieve that by becoming product experts. We achieve that by understanding how to trigger multiplication. That's the important point. We need to learn that. And then you'll have much more strength in your sponsorship talks. You'll see, it fits together so well when we move into the business start shortly. But it requires this shift in thinking so that you talk about the right things. So, okay. Now it's exactly 10:46 a.m. We're at halftime. Gerhard, we're going to, so you can have a bathroom break too. Let's take a 3-minute break. Okay, 3 minutes. Go to the toilet, make yourself a coffee. Now, with what we've learned, we'll dive into duplication and daily business. Now, it gets hands-on, okay? See you soon. See you soon. So, we're slowly moving on to part 2. I hope you've already taken a lot of notes. And the first part, internalized. A very important prerequisite to be successful in the second part. We want to achieve that we build the business quickly. I mean, we all agree. If someone asks you, would you rather become president quickly or slowly, you'd choose quickly. Become president. And if someone tells me today, and you hear this sometimes, I'd rather build it up slowly, then to me, that's nothing more than a declaration of bankruptcy, because unfortunately, they don't know how to build it quickly. A kind of self-protection statement. And that doesn't have to be. If we can show people how they can achieve success quickly, how they can earn money relatively fast, then that's even better, because that's even more proof of concept that our approach works. So let's dive in now. Now, in the first part, we learned, and I'll briefly tell you what you should focus on so you can establish it now. Because one thing is clear, what I've just told you. This shift from business-oriented communication and learning the language of vision, this zoom out effect, in combination or also with the zoom in comparison, diving deep into the cell, talking about the product, about the science, about what Gerhard explains to you on Thursday evenings about the product, trying to convey that. All of that is important. You should know all of it. We need that too. We are also happy about every expert that we have on board. But you yourself, as a non-expert, should not acquire the knowledge because the knowledge is already available. You just need to learn to show people where it is, in case they are interested. You want to build the business, so you focus on the business aspects. So starting today, you begin to engage with Zinzino. Do you even know the sales figures for the first 10 years, the first 15 years, the first 17 years, now the first 19 years? Do you know what the number is, how we will conclude the next anniversary year? Do you know when the billion will be reached? Do you know what percentage growth Zinzino achieved last year or the growth from the previous year? You need to know these numbers by heart. You should be able to recite them if someone wakes you up at 2 in the morning, and you must know them. If you don't know this yet or have never heard it before, then you have proof at that moment that not only are you telling yourself a full story, but your upline has duplicated their full story to you and shown you exactly the wrong thing, or also explained. And we need to fix that. We need to fix that if you want to become successful like the others. If you want to rise quickly, you need to learn this. So, unlearn certain things. Learn new things anew. That's the task. That's why we hold such seminars. Okay? Now let's assume you already know this. Now you're sitting across from someone and you're cheering them on endlessly. He says, hey, wow, I understood that. Great company. I also did a bit of research. What do I need to do? How do I start? And I know that when someone sits in front of you who suddenly burns more than you do and says, hey, Gerhard, I want to start. Tell me right away how I can earn 5,000 a month. I know exactly that you will flinch then. I think, oh dear. How do I explain this to him now? I don't know it myself. That's exactly the problem. That means you must understand that with what you are doing today, you are the limiting factor of your own organization. Your organization can never become better and stronger than you yourself. That's bad. Because what limits you when you are a derivative that passes it on automatically limits everyone else in your downline. Therefore, even if someone joins you who would have the chance to be significantly better and faster than you, and you take care of them, then that's it. It's like the tennis coach who teaches a talented new player the wrong strokes because he himself doesn't know any better. What happens to him? He gets just as messed up. That's why you need to untangle yourself and make sure that you are also a better derivative for all the talented people you will be speaking with in the coming weeks. That has something to do with responsibility. And that is also our responsibility. Because if we allow our partners out there to talk about whatever they want, we also allow our organization to be doomed at some prominent points, and it will no longer grow. And we don't want that because the opportunity is so great. We want it to flourish everywhere, not just in some places. That's why we need to talk about it. And even if some of this seems strange to you now, that is my full intention. So that this is a wake-up call. Yes, it's outside the comfort zone, but that's the only way it works. So back to the topic. Now we're getting into the start, because you will see. Now it gets easy. Now you have someone who you've inspired, who says, hey, great, I want to be part of this. That's just you. I understand that this is the company of the century. Fastest growing, best product network in the whole world. Timing is perfect, endless growth, momentum is there, success stories are present, everything is proven, the product works. We are transforming the entire nutritional supplement industry from gas-based to test-based. I want to be part of it. Tell me immediately what I need to do. So now you need to know what to tell him. And now you say, okay, very simple. You start a package. Which one are you going to take? Now we need to make the next big move here. Because now it's about the ultimate package. Of course, we want people to start with the ultimate. 20 people is expensive. And what the person thinks is, of course, he wants me to start with the most expensive package. He probably gets the most commissions for it. That's quite normal. But what you need to know, and what you also need to change in your thinking, you need to massively change your attitude towards the ultimate package. Because strictly speaking, The difference between a small package and an ultimate is, with the ultimate package, as you know, we have a refund campaign. And the refund campaign means that after 1 year, the money you pay comes back to you. In this sense, the newcomer doesn't actually buy the ultimate package, but rather just deposits a security deposit in Gothenburg. Remember that. With the ultimate package, you only deposit for 1 year, 100 euros in Gothenburg. That's your money. It's set aside. No one can touch it. And you get it back. If you simply do your basic job. We know it works if we work properly with it. That is almost guaranteed. So if someone knows that they are just depositing their money, they have a completely different attitude towards it than if they think they have to spend it now. Because what you can also tell them is this. If you don't spend the 100 euros for the ultimate package today, where will the money be in a year? I can tell you where it is. It's gone. Someone else has it. But if you take the money now and deposit it in the Zinzino bank for yourself for a year, you know exactly that it is still there. So entrepreneurially, there is absolutely no doubt that this is the right way. And if you see it that way, then you are much freer in your argumentation. Because that's what I explain to people. I say, look, you choose. You buy the small packages, you just secure the large one, and you get your money back. We are the only company in the entire network marketing industry that completely refunds the large starter package to the partners, the money for it. That's something that needs to be discussed. That's the most important point. Now, there's something else to add. While the money is sent there and stays for a year, you receive a huge package of products in return. Looking back, after a year, you have had these products from the very first day. Actually, if you see it that way, that you just put your money aside, you absolutely and definitely got the products completely for free. From the fact that you got the products for free, you can handle these products quite differently. Therefore, and this is just a recommendation, this is not a requirement, but I tell this to my people with whom I work personally. I say, with the ultimate package, there are 2 rules you must follow when you get it. Rule number 1, do not eat any of it. Rule number 2, do not sell any of it. Rule number 1, do not eat any of it. Rule number 2, do not sell any of it. Share the products. This is your working material. The ultimate package is not meant for you and your family to have products in the kitchen for 3 months. Then you are not a business partner. You are only a business partner if you use this material, which was sent to you against a security deposit, intelligently, for building your business with third parties. By distributing the tests, by distributing the oil. But eating it yourself and saying, well, I'll eat this first, let's see how it all tastes. Of course, you can have a taste, but no one benefits from that. I also initially used up everything in my ultimate package, but then I started distributing everything immediately back then. Say, hey, look here, there, bam, oil. And that naturally gives you a lot of freedom. Now let's address the biggest problem in the product network marketing industry, which cannot be ignored. And all other product experts have this issue except us. And I am extremely relieved about that. And the problem is as follows. The problem is that people naturally do not want to sell to friends and acquaintances. There's something inside us that resists us. In English, it can be expressed so nicely. We don't want to make money off our friends. We want to make money with our friends. Let's see if I can translate that. We don't want to earn money from our friends. We want to earn money with our friends. We don't want to earn money from our family members. Earn money with our family members. Yes, that is the reason why we recommend not selling the items from the ultimate package. Because what you should do is you should take your 10 tests to the 10 people who are personally most important to you. And that is your family and your friends. because you want to know if they want to know where they outstand. That's why you give them a celebration. We will soon get into the sales process. I'll tell you how it works. But first, it's important to me that we spend these 10 minutes ensuring that your attitude towards the ultimate package is clear. Namely, that it is a working material with which we start our business, which we have received from the company for free against a security deposit. You need to learn to deal with that. And this is certainly a new perspective on the ultimate package for many here on the call, but it solves an incredible number of challenges if you see it that way. And it is indeed like that. Now you get this ultimate package back and start working. I will explain to you shortly how this works in detail. But now you have the material there. Now you need to consider, now you have 1 year to work. Now your 1,100 euros are in the bank. Now you start earning commissions. Maybe it's 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, whatever in the first year, maybe even more. Then think about what return in that 1 year these 1,100 have brought you. That doesn't even show up in percentage figures. That means, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, this approach that Zinzino offers you, a self-employment, is something that won't be available a second time. It doesn't get any safer than this. And if someone believes they don't have the 1,100 euros, then they must do it all the more, because then they can't keep it either. Then it's better for him to learn, to put it in the bank and do something about it so he can get out of the mess he's in. Okay, that's very, very important. And the moment someone gives up and sends back their ultimate package, they have also given up the whole concept. Then they have done exactly the opposite. That's why it's incredibly important to follow through. So now we obviously don't want to wait a year until people get their 1,100 euros back. Now we obviously want to ensure that they get a return on investment as quickly as possible. And how do we do that? We focus now, since we are building a business, on just one single thing. And if there's one thing you need to know more about and understand more precisely, perhaps more than the product you think you need to know about, then it's the Fast Start program. You need to know the Fast Start program, inside and out. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And really, a 6-year-old can do it? Yes, that's a joke. You can also see it with the donuts. You need to understand the donuts, the 4 donuts in the Fast Start program, because that's the duplication mechanism. You don't need to understand the entire marketing plan. What you need to understand is the Fast Start program, because from the Fast Start program and from making the donuts green in the Fast Start program, you will see in the back office, everything else develops. That means all other bonuses, all other commissions like team commissions, they arise naturally from this and they will always be shown to you. That means you learn everything else from the other donuts. But what you need to focus on, where you need to actively work with your people, is the Fast Start program. So now someone has started with their ultimate package. You explain to them why they should choose the ultimate. They understood it. They said they find it a fair deal. The company pays the money back, say, okay, and now we move into building the business. If the story works well for you, it will be incredibly easy for you to sponsor ultimate packages from now on. What happens if you have sponsored an ultimate package on the left and an ultimate package on the right? Then you are already, have you already earned the first 400 euros in level 2 of the Fast Start program? So if you now duplicate this and help your 2 to also sponsor 2, then you have already completed level 3 of the Fast Start program. That means by bringing 6 people into the business with a simple, clearly communicated business approach that makes perfect sense, you have already earned 1,600 euros. With that, if you do it well and do it quickly, the money for your ultimate package that you deposited in Württemberg, probably even before the credit cards are charged. This is an additional layer of security. That means if someone asks, what if you can earn back the money in a week? We simply push forward. We enroll the first 2 people tomorrow, and the other 2 help them. In a week, we have completed level 2, level 3. Why does it go so fast? Now you're probably saying it never goes that fast. It took me 2 months before I could enroll my first one. Yes, of course, because you were talking about the wrong things. But if you start talking about the right things now, you'll see how quickly you can sponsor. You can enroll one every day. Every day. It's all up to you. The business is easy to do quickly and extremely difficult to do slowly. You need to understand that. If you talk about the right things, you'll get the right results. So you need to get used to speed. If you get used to speed, you'll have a very quick return on investment. Your people start earning money quickly. They collect the fast action bonuses in a few weeks, in a few days, maybe even, and are extremely grateful to you because they say, my goodness, I've been in the business for 2 weeks now and have already made money. And the ultimate package is already paid for. I've already got a return on investment, and I'm still getting the money back in a year for that. Come on. How brilliant is that? But you have to be able to talk about it. You have to show someone, say, this is how we work. Now he says, okay, how do I do that? We have the approach, I just want to know if you want to know, and the test does the rest. I just want to know if you want to know, and the rest is done by the test. Now let's go back to the ultimate package. Now the ultimate package has arrived at your home. Now your new partner says, okay, what do we do with it now? Now you say, okay, now you take the 10 tests and distribute them to the people who are most important. And you sell them because you don't want to sell to friends and acquaintances. You go and say, take a look, Google omega-3, omega-6. Or send a video, you know how important that is. Do you want to know where you stand? Especially if he is already taking products. That's a very simple approach. If today someone is already using nutritional and dietary products, you can easily ask them, do you want to try? Know if they actually reach your cells. You need to know your omega-3 balance. I'll send you a video about it. Take a look at it. Then I'll give you a test. It normally costs 100 euros. You'll get it from me for free. I'll even give you an oil with it because you'll need it. We know 97% need it. And the other 3 need it too because they are already taking something similar. Otherwise, they wouldn't be under 3-to-1. So 100% of people need our oil. They just don't know it yet. So now they take the test and they get the oil the same evening. Why is it so important to give out the test and oil together? We know what people's test results will be. Disastrous. That means at the latest after 2 or 3 weeks, when the test result comes, they are glad that they have already started taking the oil. Now it is relatively easy to get them on subscriptions because they have already gotten used to the oil that they received from me and probably have already felt or noticed improvements in their well-being. And they don't want to lose these benefits anymore. So when you give them the oil, you can be sure that the subscription will be easy. Now you give them the test and the oil and say, look, you don't have to pay me for this right now. But I want a promise from you. That's the thing. What kind of promise is that? I'll put it very simply. If your test is not green, write this down. If your test is not green, then you know you need the product. Then you will become a Zinzino customer for your health. Or we both sit down together and think about how we can take this billion-dollar business around the world together. Those are your 2 options. Do we have a deal? And everyone says, yes, we have a deal. So, and if you approach it this way, then you really can't fail because 2 things will happen. Either you have a new partner or you have a new customer. If someone doesn't want to do the business, at least they need the oil. You gather your customers. If they want to do the business, you have a new partner and you gather enrollment packages. Those are the only 2 things. And you do this through your ultimate package. That's why this package is your working material. That's why you handle it this way. And I've had incredibly good experiences by not taking money from people initially. Because then they are actually, in a way, indebted to you. Because when reality hits them and the test result comes, they say to themselves, he basically calculated my life for me in an exaggerated sense. So at least they know that you didn't just tell them any nonsense, but that it's a serious matter. You can see that in your evaluation. And then you've got them. And then you just have to ask them, customer or partner, what do you want to do now? Doing nothing is not an option. You've seen your test result. What do you want, customer or partner? For us, both are fine. And that makes it very, very easy. That makes it very, very easy to duplicate. That makes it very, very easy to work. And it's an extremely soft approach, and we don't have to become salespeople. Because in the end, we don't want to do anything other than convey subscriptions. That means no one buys the product from us. We are not resellers, but we refer a customer to Zinzino by attaching our ID number to our organization. Entering into a business with Zinzino. That's why we only refer it. And our working material from the Ultimate package is what helps us to convey it. Okay? So now we either have a partner or we have a customer. We have our customers who accumulate, and we have our enrollment points that also accumulate, and we can comfortably and successfully go through the very generously dimensioned, namely 120 days, which you don't even need for it, through the Fast Start program. And if you, that's my goal. If you go through the Fast Start program with a factor of 10x, meaning 10 times faster than usual, as stated in the marketing plan. We compress the Fast Start program with a new partner who wants to accelerate. Not to 120 days, but we compress it down to 12 days. We say, okay, look, let's complete this thing in 12 days, 2 weeks, from level 1 to level 4. If he completes it in a month, in less than a month, then he earns well over 2,000 euros with it. That means someone who started with an Ultimate deposited 1,100 euros as a security deposit. We can put 2,500 euros or even a bit more in their pocket in 2 weeks. If I go to someone today and say, look, I have a business here that the world really needs, and I can show you how you can earn 2,500 euros with a security deposit of 1,100 euros, which you will get back in the first 2 weeks, or even in the first 4 weeks. Would you listen to that? Then tell me someone who would say no to that. It's too good to be true. Almost. But you have to learn to talk about it and also choose this approach. Otherwise, you'll never get to the point. This is all about the business mindset, different language. You want to build business partners. Only those who are in the call here. And say, no, I just want to focus on customers. I just want customers. I want to become top team 200, top team 300, top team 500. We have those too. Then that's completely fine. But if you want to become a director and go to Bali, or want to become an ambassador and go to the top leading hotel in Greece, if you want to earn 5 figures a month or 6 figures and become an ambassador and president, then you can't work any other way than this. Then you really have to give up what you've been doing so far and change and become better. Just as we have discussed now. You need to learn to present this business perfectly. The business aspects of the business, not the product-specific aspects of the business. I always like to repeat myself there with what's really in it. You need to learn this language, and then you'll see everything is incredibly simple. When you then have the first partners, which you get in the first 2, 3, 4, let it take 8 weeks, you get through the fast, hard phase through this approach. At the latest, you will see how powerful the business is and what emerges from it, because it will duplicate itself. This is the way we do this business. From now, and I'll start from the beginning. We need to reprogram ourselves and make it clear to ourselves that the story we have told ourselves leads to the results that we want to have every day. We have also learned how we need to reprogram ourselves. We need to reprogram ourselves by learning the business facts and learning to talk about the business instead of talking about the product. This doesn't mean that we can't talk about the product, but we want to shorten that. And if someone has product questions, which is completely normal, we always give the same answer. I'll send you a video. Is that okay for you? Then we can talk about it. Yes. Because today we don't want to talk about the product. We want to find out if we want to do business together, a completely different approach. Because once you're in the product hole, you can't dig your way out. You stay in there because then you're in German class, not in math class. But we stick with mathematics. as a comparison. Really intense, a really intense class. You can't zoom in if you want to zoom out. You have to decide. So now you do that. Then he understood that. Then he says, hey, Zinzino convinces me. Your approach convinces me. At some point, you get to the point where he says, your success convinces me, because you are probably someone who also quickly went through the fast tag program. Your new partner will say, if you have guided him correctly, and he really goes through the fast tag program in 10 days or 2 weeks, then he will say about it, you know what, I earned the 2.5 grand in 10 days. Do you know how powerful that is? You can't argue with that. Then the other person says, oh man, but if you don't enable your partner to get that in 2 weeks, what is he supposed to talk about? You take away his power. You take away his results. So make sure he can do it, and then he will talk about it. And then the documentation, the communication takes off. Then it becomes even easier, because then you have a lot of people who might say, yes, it's completely normal. Everyone does it every 10 days here. Do you understand what a trigger that is? If you do it wrong, you duplicate slowness. If you do it right, you duplicate power and strength. And then it gets easier and easier because people manage it. That's the reason why some of us are incredibly fast and others are so insanely, painstakingly slow. That's the only reason. Not because one is better or worse. We do different things that lead to better results. And we want to offer you the same, so you can adopt it and be just as fast as we are for the sake of fairness. Because we're just getting started. We're just warming up. We've just gained clarity on everything, how it really works. That's important. So then he starts with the ultimate package. Then he explains the depot to him, the security deposit, explains the fast debt program, shows him how to handle the test, shows him how to fulfill the promise. Don't take money, take a promise. That's much more valuable. Namely, indeed, the promise to either go for a subscription or to do business with you. You guide him towards the product calculation or the business direction. Never write, and that's something I might need to explain again. What I find very good about Zinzino is that the partner price and the customer price are the same. This means in many networks, the major system flaw is that partners can buy the products cheaper than the customers. And the bad thing about it is that a lot of product users are made partners simply because they can get it cheaper. A consumer association has been built. No partner who really wants to actively build a business and then tries to get this downline up and running, that's a futile effort. In Zinzino, you don't have to do that. You only have the premier price and the retail price, and it's the same for partners and customers. So we can really sort cleanly into the two categories. Only people who really want to do business with us, we sign up, and all others, we put on a subscription. This is also in our minds extremely clear. And today I want to ensure clarity so that you can sort yourselves out and know from now on what you are doing. And we will certainly, in the coming Saturdays, Gerhard and Birgit repeatedly address the individual points, because this needs to be solidified now. I don't expect you to immediately implement perfectly what you've heard from me today, or will still hear, immediately and perfectly. This needs to be practiced. It's really like learning a new language. You can't just say, oh yes, from tomorrow I'll learn Italian, and then expect to be able to, next week, perfect Italian. At first it will be difficult, but you stick with it and get better and better. And it will be the same here. So then the partners have earned the money, duplication is running, and everything else falls into place. That's the point. Where did I leave off? We left off at the ultimate package, explaining the refund campaign, explaining the security deposit, distributing tests, explaining oil distribution as quickly as possible, going through the initial driving start stages. Sure. How does he get his first people now? Ask him, who can we call right away? Who do you think would be interested in what you just heard from me as well? He immediately knows people. We call them and show them the business, and then the conversation comes back. If you start now, you will see how your business takes off. It will explode. The moment you start speaking the right language and thereby trigger the right results, these results, which are then actually there, will trigger new good results like on autopilot. But most people never even reach the point of having a good result because they trigger the wrong thing from the start. And we've now cleared that up. And that's how you work through a fast start program. And then you go deep into the organization and help your partner go through a fast start. This plan here works bottom up, from the bottom to the top. That means if we ignite the fire at the base with the duplication of the fast start, all other ranks up to the top are created. The president ranks automatically as a result. That means what we really need to handle well, and many of you probably, it fades out when the fast start phase is over. You don't see it in the back office anymore, but you can click on your new partner. Then you can take a look at their donuts. The fast start program is still there. And the good thing is we can click on any downline partner in the back office and see exactly their status in the fast start. And the only task we have from now on is to turn the red donuts green. That's why I want to say something about the first donut now. Complete stage 1 of the fast start program. These are the 4 customer Q team. Q team is stage 1. We complete Q team in less than 30 minutes. Because I believe, and you are welcome to debate this, but I think this is the most important thing, that every partner who operates Zinzino and is convinced of it automatically should also be their own first and best customer. Now we have the rule that we are not allowed to snack from the ultimate package. For this reason, we have no other choice but to order the products we want to consume regularly from now on through an auto ship for ourselves. And we do this not through our partner account, but through a customer account that we set up ourselves. The price is the same. As partners, we are assigned our own customers, which brings us into the Q team. But what is even more important, when we add more customers, we eventually get our products for free. Because for customers of Zeet, for free as well. It is effective, so that means our own products are eventually free. Because we can list other customers under our customers, which then makes our products free for us at a ratio of 1:4. And that's why it simply makes sense to register yourself again as a customer immediately after registration in the same hour, actually right afterwards, and then order the things there, order the premium kids, premier price kids, which essentially make us the customers ourselves. And the first 4, you always do within your own household. Okay, those are your and your partner's customers, whatever, parents, those are them. You can't tell me that there aren't 4 people with you who regularly use the products. If you're a family of 4, that's just 4 shells. Yes, everyone needs a shell. There's no other way. So let's start with that. And later, when you have more trust and also start earning money, then you won't have any problem getting more customers. So we already have over 25 customers just in our household. I just signed up for 6 new subscriptions for the collagen because Audrey needs 3 packs a month and I don't want to fall behind either. So I need it too. I must have it too. 3 times Christoph, 3 times drinking packs of cherry juice. And the collagen product is a sensational product. It's a social media friendly demo product. You can see results. I certainly don't want to miss out on that. So there you have 6 customers gone already. You haven't even taken any oil, Zinopal, heart protocol, or vitamin D yet. So it's clear that customers will naturally accumulate from your own customer base. Then you might say, okay, but that costs a lot of money. Yes, but if you're making money, it's not a problem, right? If you run your business properly, you earn money and you can afford the products from Zinzino. So please, it all adds up. But not if you start off on the wrong foot, then nothing adds up. And if nothing adds up for you and you feel like you have to bring money in, you've never run the business properly. Because if you do it right, you don't have to bring money for an ultimate package. It stays there. You just need to secure it. You don't have to bring money for your own product points because you can earn them back when you get into recruiting mode, where you build customers and partners with speed and you earn fast start bonuses and later team bonuses and weekly bonuses just by the fact that your business is growing. And then you can also afford the products. So in the end, it always is a positive number that must be at the bottom line for you. And if that's not the case, then you haven't done the right things in your process yet. So to conclude, now we've reached exactly 90 minutes. This business is a future. billion-dollar business. And I wish each of you and each of our future partners and also all our cross lines, and especially in Zinzino, that they generate the maximum success for themselves here, because I am absolutely convinced of it, that there will never again be such an opportunity in life for anyone where opportunity and security both are at an extremely high level. Usually opportunity and security are opposites. Great opportunity, little security, a lot of security, few opportunities. Here, both are at the top, so make something out of it, but do it right. I hope I was able to explain some things to you today. We will address this in detail, but you have now heard in one line how from the thought process to the action process to the results, everything works super easily if you do it right. And I'm sure that there wasn't much new today, but rather that the logic simply came across in one piece, and you understand that you don't have to learn a lot of new things, but maybe let go of the old. You need to let go to become more successful. In that sense, I wish you a nice Saturday and hand it back over to dear Gerhard.
Yes, Sven, sensational. Many, many thanks on behalf of the entire team. The chat is buzzing, of course. Yes, great feedback from you all, and you've contributed a lot. You've also taken a lot of notes yourselves again. And on Tuesday, we have a Super Tuesday. To you, Sven, once again, a very big thank you for the clarity and for the strategy, for the tactics, for the key phrases that we were able to write down as well. Have a nice weekend and all the best and much success. Until next time, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, much success.